Thanks to the support as a channel member, Josh Armitage. Well, didn't think this would be how the last episode of this season went. We're already safe. We're definitely not getting relegated. We could even still finish in the top half of the table. There's an outside chance, and so many things have to go our way. We could still qualify for the Europa League. Don't get your hopes up about that. But we might finish in the top half. It's all about finding how much money we've got to spend in the summer. That's the big interest now. Hello and welcome to Club 2, part 30 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our final two games of the Premier League season. We're away against Aston Villa and at home against Everton. Since you were last with me, it's been ridiculous. It's been ridiculous. You saw us beat Sheffield United in the last episode. We then went and beat Chelsea and Manchester City. We beat Chelsea away from home. We beat Manchester City at home with a 93rd minute goal. We came from behind in both of these games. Absolute madness. We did then lose against Arsenal when a little bit of normal order was restored to the world. But this is what the league table looks like. Only 2 games remaining. We're 13 points clear of the relegation zone. For context, if you add 13 points on to our points total, we'd be 5 points outside of the Champions League. We're closer to the Europa League than we are to the Championship, which is, that would have been mad 2 episodes ago. We have ended this season strongly, and a lot of it has to go down to that chap, Ricky J. Jones. I don't know if I've mentioned him in any of the previous episodes, but he's all right at football. If we keep him this summer, that'd be lovely. No one seems to be in for him, which is mad, really. He's 23 years old. He's English. He's one of the top scorers in the Premier League this year. In reality, if he emerges, if that exact player appears in the Premier League this season, that's a 30, 40, 50 million pound player. How much did Villa pay for Ollie Watkins, who only did his goals in the Championship? You got to double that. I'd quite like to sell him if the option came up, just to have the Spensies, but that would probably be a bad idea. So this is a team for the game against Villa. I think, are Villa already relegated? Villa, we could relegate Villa here, which I think that'd be quite sweet because they ran away with the Championship last year and we scraped into second place. If we're the team that relegates them whilst moving into the top half of the table ourselves, just confirms I'm a considerably better manager than whoever's managing Aston Villa. So we're going with Yaros in goal, a back four of Williams, Ekwarimbi, Devine and Lopez, Berra and Wassel in midfield, Armstrong, Bizer and Mighton supporting Jones up front. It still looks like a Championship team. There's maybe 3 players who are properly Premier League quality in there. And I don't know how we've managed it. This Kettering tactic we've been doing since the start, it's been all right, hasn't it? It's a great opportunity to show why the pundits have been right to say you're awesome, because you have been awesome. Well done, boys. But I don't think we can kid ourselves about that. Why is my eyebrow all sticking up everywhere? We've got a busy summer ahead of us. Part A, Bizer's injured again. Roberts can come on for him. The first reason it's going to be busy is because surely this is the summer where I start getting some job offers, not just because we've overperformed and there's going to be Premier League teams looking at me, but because we've got all of those other leagues switching over to playable, the new leagues being added. There's going to be lots of job vacancies. I suspect I might be headhunted away to a bigger European club this summer. We shall see, though. If we stay at Posh, second season syndrome is very much a thing, and we need to be aware of it because, there's no getting away from it. You look at that team, it's a Championship team with a decent striker in it, and we don't really know how good Bizer is yet because he keeps getting injured, but we spent a lot of money on him, and he's not played a lot of football. We're going to lose Wassel, who's one of our key players. That defence looks so makeshift. Lopez is good. The rest of the defence, so makeshift. Armstrong's not going to be here next year. There's a lot of work to do to turn this into a team that can stay up again next year. I'm up for doing it if no one else wants me. I'm certainly not going to go looking for a job. I'm having a whale of a time managing the team I support in a YouTube series. But, rules of the save, realism and all that. If a big offer comes in, obviously I am going to take it. Ricky J. Jones has just scored his 20th goal of the season. He is good at that. He's good at one thing. It's that. Getting hold of the ball. Okay, he's good at 2 things because he can run fast with it and he can hit it really hard. And he just causes problems for teams with his physicality. And I mean, they've not marked him properly. He's got himself a little bit of space, so he's just going to hit it really hard. Puts us 1-0 up, and that might well be the goal that relegates Aston Villa, which should have let us win the league last year. We wouldn't be picking on you now. Right, we're going to bring Odor on that left-hand side, and we're going to get Jack Taylor on in midfield, and just fix that and swap those two over, and that is that. I mean, someone like Devine, Jack Taylor, these are not Premier League players. I don't think they're ever going to be Premier League players. Even the likes of Jaros, Ekwa Elimbi, these are players who've been released for practically nothing by their Premier League clubs. And they've gone away and done all right, either in a smaller league or in the Championship, and they've done okay, and we've brought them in and they've been good for us. But I don't think you could pretend that they're Premier League players, surely. Williams goes into the same category as that. I don't know. We've put a makeshift squad together and done phenomenally well with it. I think that does relegate Villa. It does. And we are currently in the top half of the Premier League, and Ricky J. Jones is joint second top scorer once again. He's not going to catch Mason Greenwood on the last day, but just to have him on that screen is beautiful. No changes for the final game of the season then against Everton, because I think we have pretty much worked out what our strongest team is now. One thing that is worth mentioning, David Taggart, who's someone we brought in for almost no money. He's one of those players that I remember describing something on the lines of, my youth development guy brought in a load of trash that I'm not even going to show you. Well, this guy is constantly our top trainer. We've been recommended we bring him up into the first team squad. I think he's in the process of doing a little bit of a Mick Powell, potential to be a Premier Division striker in the future. We're going to very much keep an eye on him. He's another one that we've brought in from, it's Northern Ireland this time, but another player we brought in from somewhere relatively nearby, and he's constantly improving. He can play on the right wing or up front. We will be keeping an eye on this boy. Watch that name, David Taggart. There might still be a future where we have Jones, Patton, and maybe Taggart as our front three, but it won't be today. I guess if it wasn't for the Premier League prize money being so significant, each position further up the league you go, there's an argument for sticking him on the bench today because it's a pretty meaningless game. But it's only meaningless if you're not skint like we are. But for us, it's the difference between finishing 11th and maybe 9th, which is probably several £1 million. And for a club the size of us who get attendances the sizes we do, several £1 million that's a player. That's the difference between signing someone or not. So we definitely want to finish as high at this league table as we possibly can. Armstrong seems to be dancing down the left-hand side at super speed, and he's been fouled there. And that seems to be Armstrong's basic method of attack. He gets the ball, runs into the penalty area and falls over. He doesn't really do a lot else at any point, but he is good at doing that. He didn't win a penalty there, though, but he has actually crossed it that time. Found Mighton, who wasn't able to apply the finish. I've been a little disappointed with Mighton this year. I thought he was going to be better than he appears to be. Give him time, but at the moment, not being that impressed. And we seem to be doing a lot of long throws at the moment. I don't think we've got long throws turned on, but we will do. I might double check before next season. I mean, that being said, they seem to be working again. I don't know if that's a thing with a recent FM update, because I know they were pretty nerfed on launch after how successful they were in FM20, but they do seem to be quite effective again at the moment. Williams has picked up a knock here, so we're going to take Williams off. Williams has been linked with a potential move to Everton in the media, a £17 million move. I'm not really up for selling our better players, and Williams is definitely one of our better players. I think the days of us having to do deals like the Reece Devine deal, where we're tempted by millions in the teens for our better players, I don't think we need to do that now. We've moved beyond that. Like I mentioned before, if we were to get a huge offer for Ricky J. Jones, that's a little bit different, but 17 million for Williams, I have no reason to accept that. We don't need that money. We've got £20 million sat there in the bank as it is, and the Premier League money comes in at the end of the season, doesn't it? So I imagine before too long, we're going to have close to 100 million in the bank, which we're not going to be given 100 million to spend next season, I don't think. So we're all right for money. We don't need to be messing around with money. We've not done too much on the never, so we're not building up any kind of transfer debt. The only one we have done is Bizer, because I just felt like we needed a bit of a creative spark in there. We were playing Jack Taylor as an attacking midfielder in the Championship, and we weren't even playing him there in League One. So I felt like we needed something a little bit different in there. So he was worth taking the financial risk on, but it's not something we're going to make a habit of, because I know at some point, whether it's while I'm here or after I'm gone, Posh are getting relegated, and I don't want them to fall through the leagues because of financial problems. Ricky J. Jones has just got goal 21 of the season, boys and girls, and it's a lovely move. We are playing some good football now. Lopez has blossomed into a Premier League player over the course of this season. It's a lovely through ball, and Jones is there again. Goal number 21. He might be the best £4 million I've spent on Football Manager in a long, long time, because I maintain without him we get relegated. He has been the difference maker. Having a striker who's scored 21 goals as a newly promoted team, that's the difference between us finishing 9th and 19th. It's that significant having a player like that, and I only brought him back because he came from our youth team, or I probably wouldn't have risked the £4 million on him at the time. Right, we are going to make one more change. In fact, we're going to sit on this last change for a minute. I didn't mean to do a team talk, but there you go. Patrick Roberts has come on, who has been a little bit of a disappointment as well. I think if we can move him on this summer, we will. He's not quite been the creative force that I'd hoped he'd be. For £60,000 a week as well. He's still the highest paid player at the club and not close to the best player at the club. So we will be looking to move him on. I think we're not going to move Jones out to the wing. Augustine can play out there. I think he's another one who probably needs an upgrade. We need a backup striker to Jones. Whether that becomes Patton, he is scoring goals in Ligue 1, so interesting to see how he's developed when he comes back over the summer. I'd like him to be part of the team because it's awesome. He's homegrown at club because of how young he was when we brought him in. So it would be very nice to have Patton back in the fold. But we shall see. It's going to be a very interesting summer. Hopefully, we'll get the transfer budget directly after this game. Mighton, after saying he's disappointed me, dances around his player there, receives the ball back from Lopez, and he's drilling the ball over. Berat's there, but it goes over. He's been one of the unsung heroes of this year. We signed him to play as our holding midfielder, stopped playing a holding midfielder almost immediately, and he's reinvented himself as a box-to-box midfielder so good he's pushed Jack Taylor out of the side. So, round of applause for Berat. He's been a good signing, even if he's not been the player that I planned for him to be when we brought him in. But sometimes you make a lovely little mistake. Not a mistake. He's definitely not a mistake. A positive mistake. A bit of good fortune. And there we have it. I think we've won 5 of our last 6 games, which is ridiculous end of season form. Hopefully we can carry it over into the start of next season if I'm still here. But I think we have finished 9th in the Premier League. A top half finish in our first season at this level is stupendous. We finished 4 points outside of the Europa League, the Europa Conference League spots, which is absolutely nuts. For a second I thought that was telling me we'd qualified. That would have been ridiculous. We get £25 million for finishing in that spot as well, plus more money being thrown at us as well, means there should be a whole bunch of money in the bank. Let's have a look. £58 million sat there. Are we getting a transfer budget? I'm hitting continue, but I think we're going to find out tomorrow. If it doesn't tell you straight away, you usually have to wait a little while, because I think it's going to be the season review that pops up next. And that is how we're going to start tomorrow's transfer special. So I know what we're getting. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.